Hello everyone. Today we will be talking about the 26 books I want to read in 2026. So last year I read 23 books, and so I was going to set my goal to be 25 this year, but since it's 2026, decided why not shoot for 26 books. I'm sure some of you have seen these types of videos before. They've been going around. I know I'm a little late to make one of these videos. I've been wanting to do it. I've just been kind of busy. It's already the end of January and I just now finished one book, so running a little bit behind on the goal so far, but let's go through the list. Okay, so book number one I want to read this year is Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. I read one of her books last year, The Nightingale. It was very, very good, and I love the way that it was written, so I was very curious to read more about her. I actually have that one on my bookshelf. So gonna try to read that one this year. Book number two is The Women by Kristin Hannah, keeping it again with her. But I've seen a lot of people read this. A lot of my friends read this. Everyone has talked about how good it is. And since I already liked one of her books, I'm gonna try to read this one as well. Number three is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. I've started this series. It is a long series. And I know I've talked about this multiple times on my channel. It's a very good series. I definitely recommend. And actually, this is the book I just finished, and these books are massive, so that's kind of why it took me a little bit. I hope I can finish the rest of that series this year. That's going to be my goal. So that puts us into book number four, Rhythm of War. And I will be starting this one soon because I just finished Oathbringer and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen next. We're starting to get into the war and everything going on, so that's getting pretty intense, so I'm really curious as to what will happen next. Number five, Words of Truth, which is the last book so far in this series. And I don't know, my boyfriend said something about it being like 5 more years before the next one comes out, so I've got plenty of time. So I'm excited to see where it leaves off, like what kind of cliffhangers or theories everyone thinks about this series. Obviously, since I haven't finished it, I've been trying not to look anything up, and usually I like to look up fan art about the people that I'm reading, and I don't even want to do that because so far started getting into a love triangle in that series, and I don't want to spoil anything for myself or ruin anything, so I really have not been looking up anything at all. I'm really enjoying it. Didn't honestly think I would be enjoying it. I know I've said this a million times. So yes, ladies, if your man has recommended you to read this book, definitely give it a try, because honestly, it's been so long since reading a fantasy series that just has a lot of elements going on, but it's very well written to bring it all together. So definitely recommend if you like those types of fantasy books. The sixth book, I actually have it right here, Project Hail Mary. I have seen so much about this book, and my cousin actually recommended it to me, saying that this guy wrote The Martian and that she read that book, but it was more scientific, I guess, getting into the details of what all was going on scientifically. And she said this one is less of that and more of an actual story. So she said she would definitely recommend this. I feel like I keep seeing it pop up on YouTube, things like that. So gonna try to check that one out, and I will keep you updated on how good it is, what I think. I'm excited. I'm actually about to start this one next before I get into the Rhythm of War book, because like I said, those books are massive, so I just need a little bit of a break before I jump back into the series. The seventh book I want to read is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. My friend told me a little bit about this one. Something about there being a murder mystery, and the cop keeps, I guess, redoing the day as a different person to get those different perspectives to try to solve the murder. I hope that's right. That's what she was explaining to me from what I can remember. So yes, anywho. Book number 8, Keeping with Brandon Sanderson. Everyone also has been recommending to me the Mistborn series, since I have been reading the Stormlight Archives series. I think that's what it's called. Well, anyway, so since I've been reading that, they were like, you need to read the Mistborn series. So book number 8 is Mistborn. Let's get into book number 9, The Well of Ascension, which is the second book in the Mistborn series. As you can see, this is heading towards a trend, because book number 10 is going to be The Hero of Ages. I want to finish at least these 3 books of the Mistborn series, and then if there's more, I think there's some novellas or something, then I'll read those. So I'm excited for this series. Book number 11, Recursion by Blake Crouch. This was also another one that my cousin recommended for me, and she said that it was very good. So I definitely want to check it out. Book number 12, Sky Hunter by Mary Lou. So these books are right here on my shelf. I have had them and I haven't read them yet, so trying to work through those. That series, I'm curious what it'll be about, what it'll be like. But I have read so many other Mary Lou's books. They're honestly so good. YA books. If you like dystopian books, she wrote the Legend series that I found when I was in middle school and became obsessed with. And so I've just kept reading all. So I just kept reading all her books, and I love all of her books so far. Like, I honestly would recommend any book that she's written. I really like them. So leading into book number 13 is Steel Striker, which is the second book to the duology of Sky Hunter. So I'm excited to get into those books. Enough said about that. Number 14, this one was recommended by a friend, The Paris Daughter. It's supposed to be a World War II historical fiction. I feel like I find myself enjoying reading about that and learning more about that time in history. So I feel like that'll be a really good book, and I'm excited to read that. Number 15, Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. I have read a lot of her books. I just like them. Easy little quick romance read if you've been going through a long series. They usually follow a woman who is involved in a STEM field, which is kind of nice because I am in STEM, so I just like reading romances that have to deal with a smart woman. So it's just fun. Book number 16, Wilder by Rebecca Yarros. This is a part of a book outlet order I made like last year because that website is amazing and I have found so many good books for good prices on that website. So this one I was curious to see. I read one other romance book by Rebecca Yarros, and it's just crazy to try to read these books by her compared to Fourth Wing, but the other one was pretty good. It was Variation, I think is what it's called, and it was about these sisters who did ballet, and there was romance but also a little bit of like a mystery to her backstory. So I'm really curious to see what this romance will be all about. Book number 17, Ward D. This is going to be another thriller by Frida McFadden, if that's how you say it. Yes, another thriller to just add in here, and just another little quick read where I'm obviously trying to read some series this year where I can just pick this up, get a little palate cleanser, and then head back into another fantasy series. Book number 18. This is the first book in a fantasy series that I've been wanting to read, but my goal is to read at least the first book because obviously I'm trying to work through a lot of series this year, so we'll just see how it goes with how much time I have to read. But anyway, Shadow of the Gods. I have seen so many TikToks with this book in it. I've seen some of the people I know post this on their story and rate it very highly. So I'm really curious and I really want to read this book. Like, I just feel like it's going to be such a good fantasy series. So I really hope I can get to it this year. Book number 19, Red Rising. I've seen so much going on about this. Friends have told me that this book is really good. I need to read it. And I know it's got a lot of hype on the internet. So I'm really excited to check it out. And I think it'll be one that I really enjoy. Book number 20, Babel. I have read the Poppy War series and it was really, really good. First book, a little bit graphic in describing some of the things that happened during the war scenes. So that threw me off a little bit, but I did really like those books, and I have been interested in reading another book by her. And so I think that Babel is the one that I want to go with and check that one out. Book number 21, The Tenant by Frida McFerrin. I read the Housemaid series by her, or at least I haven't read the whole series. I've only read the first 2 books, but pretty decent thrillers, I would say. So I want to try out another one by her. And so I'm going to go with The Tenant. Book number 22, The Bone Season. And this one is also one book that I picked up on like Books A Million's bargain books. Looked cool, so I just picked it up, and now I feel like I keep seeing it everywhere. And I know this is a series too, so we can see how the first book goes and then decide if I want to continue with the series or not. Book number 23, People We Meet on Vacation. This book I've been to read because people have been talking about it. It's become a Netflix series, and so I think if I read the book, then I'll watch the Netflix series and see if it kind of translates how good it is compared to the book. Book number 24, Shadow and Bone. Also, right here, got the whole series on my shelf. So I want to read Shadow and Bone. This has become a Netflix series. I watched the first season. I thought it was pretty good, but my friend had read that series and told me to watch the show first because she didn't think the show was as good as the book. So she was kind of disappointed. So she said to watch the show first and then read the books. So I'm finally getting around to this book series. I've had this book series on my shelf for years. So my goal is to try to read it this year. So yes, that leads into book number 25, Siege and Storm, the second book in that. So, just continuing on with the series. Finally, book 26, Ruin and Rising. I want to finish this series by the end of the year, and that is my goal. So that's the 26 books I want to read this year. I know this list is super ambitious because, first of all, the Stormlight Archive series already has like 1,200 pages per book at least. So that's going to be a lot to work through. And I only read 23 books last year. But let's see, fingers crossed, I should be able to get these 26 books in before the end of the year. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you liked them or didn't like them and why. And also if you have any other book recommendations, because maybe I can read more than 26 books, or maybe I'm just not really vibing with one of the ones on my list and I want something else to read. If I keep with this list of books, I will have read almost every single book on my bookshelf. So obviously my goal will be to work through my physical TBR this year. So I'm going to try not to buy any new books. That's easier said than done. But anyway, I will be reading some of these on my Kindle because I know some of them are on Kindle Unlimited. And then I will also be going to the library because I already looked up and some of these are in the library. So if I don't have them, my goal will be to just check them out from the library and use that. So with that, that's the end of this video. So thanks for watching.